What's up? So here we are in the early hours of January 22nd, 2019. Just a few hours removed from the conclusion of January 21st, 2019, which was the day that we use in this country to commemorate the birth of Martin Luther King Jr. Now, I got a couple of thoughts about this because I don't know if the significance of this day is as much now as it was in the past. Because I looked at the TV schedule today, right? And I noticed that there were five NBA games slated to be televised tonight. Five NBA games. And I thought to myself, wow, that's quite reminiscent of the Christmas Day schedule. You know, on Christmas Day, there's a slew of NBA games to be broadcast as well. And we already know that Christmas has long lost its significance in this country. Um, Materialism, consumerism is the order of the day. Hardly anybody celebrates Christmas thinking about baby Jesus or grown Jesus for that matter. you know, and I started to think, has it reached a point now where has MLK Day now been reduced to just another day off for people? Has it now just been reduced to just another 3-day weekend for people? And I'm talking about black folks too now. Because I already know, and we have already known and heard about what some white people feel about the day. I've heard and read places where white people have said, oh, they want to have a holiday for this guy. Sure, go right ahead. I could use another day off. You know, things like that. But I'm starting to think that, you know, the same sentiment exists in the black community. Because if you're just going to have a slew of NBA games on TV, I mean, what really does that have to do with the holiday? Really, what does it have to do with it? You get a sport that features majority African American athletes, and you run a couple of sound bites of people reflecting on what MLK Day means to them, and all this, that, and the third, and then you play all these games, and it's like, well, okay, but what does that really mean? You know, what does that really mean? And so it seems like the day has just become another day to kick back, sleep in, uh, get up, turn on the TV, see some NBA games, eat some chicken wings, and drink some, I don't know, beer, wine, whatever your taste is, and kick back. And then about 8 o'clock that night, you look up and realize, oh shoot, I got to go to work tomorrow. And then from 8 o'clock on to the rest of the night, you're dreading the fact that you got to actually get up and go to work on Tuesday. Because that's what we all do on a 3-day weekend. It's what we do on any regular weekend, let alone a 3-day weekend. Yeah, so that seems like that's what this day is coming down to. The enthusiasm, the excitement that was there when uh, the Reagan administration signed this thing into law, it's not there anymore. The fight to make this thing a national law was something else. I remember Stevie Wonder and the crusade and the efforts that he made to make this day a national holiday. You know, that was over 30 years ago, and now it seems like it's just another day to kick back and chill, basically. I don't know. And I'll tell you another thing. I remember reading a couple of years ago, I think about 2 years ago, about how some strip clubs in the black community are taking advantage of MLK Day. You know, they turn it into like a ladies ladies night or some shit like that. MLK Day. You know, discounted prices. You know, cheaper drinks at the strip club on MLK Day. Let that sink in for a minute, man. The strip clubs are trying to take advantage of MLK Day on a Monday. You know, and that's been going on for the last few years. You know, oh boy, what would Dr. King say about that if he knew that? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. He might have a interesting take on that, a more interesting take on that than you would think. But I digress. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna say nothing. Some people might know what I'm getting at, but I'm not gonna say nothing. But anyway, yeah, that was my take on that. When I saw that this morning, looking at the NBA schedule, and I saw all these games, it just reminded me of how the Christmas holiday has been hijacked by consumerism and materialism and all that stuff. And it seems like MLK Day is headed down the same road, and maybe he has already reached it. You know. And I think this is another sign that MLK is probably going to be relegated to secondary status. What do I mean by that? As far as icons in the black community are concerned, as we go further and deeper into the 21st century, I think that MLK is not going to have the same preeminence that he once did. I think as we move deeper and deeper into the 21st century, MLK is going to be surpassed by none other in terms of significance than number 44, the former president, Barack Obama. Yes, I think that in the very near future, Barack Obama is going to replace MLK as the preeminent figure and icon in the black community. I believe that. Ever since he's left office, Obama has grown and grown in stature, and his legacy is growing, and especially in light of the character that we have in the Oval Office right now. you know, Obama's legacy and stature and iconography is just growing. As he goes on the speaker circuit, as he stomps for his Democrat comrades, as he makes statements and things of that nature. He's growing in his legacy, and his shadow is beginning to overtake and cover up that of Martin Luther King Jr. I'll give you an even good example. In Chicago, the Dan Ryan Expressway, which is an artery that connects the south side of Chicago to the downtown loop area in the city, they're thinking about renaming that thing from the Dan Ryan Expressway to the Barack Obama Expressway. They are seriously considering that. Now, in every city, every major urban area in this country, from Chicago to Baltimore to wherever, there is always a Martin Luther King Drive or a Martin Luther King Boulevard in this country. Now, that's one thing. But to have an expressway named after you, I don't know. It seems to be a whole nother thing. Obama's already getting a library built in his name and honor in Chicago. And then they want to turn around and rename an entire expressway after him as well. It just goes to show you his his eminence is growing in this culture long after he's been out of office. And I think it will continue to do that. And I think he's going to supplant MLK someday as the preeminent icon in black history in this country. So, and so what I'm saying with this video, I think we're seeing the beginning seeds of that. You know, when your holiday is reduced to just being another day off, just another 3 day weekend, that's kind of like the tea leaves are showing you what's really going on. So that's my hot take on it. We'll see.